This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your questions today. Put your questions in the comments so that I may answer your questions. Make sure that if you have a question, you put it in right away so I can see it and answer it as soon as I'm finished with the topic that I have to talk about. So I have some great news to share with you, and I think it's a good sign. So they now with the VAWA, VAWA is a way that our clients can apply for the work permit and the green card um, if they have been mistreated by a citizen or resident spouse, parent, or citizen child who's age 21 and up. And for the longest time, the service center, the U.S. Service Center that process these types of applications was the Vermont Service Center. However, there has been an increase in VAWA petitions, and at least across all the board, applications are backed up. And one of the ways that they are trying to address that issue is they have assigned a new service center. And so one of the first clients, and this was earlier this year, I believe they started accepting earlier this year. So January or February of this year, they had the new service center. And one of our clients who we filed for, so we filed for in March, one of the first clients that we have filed for at the VAWA Surf at the new center, which is trying to help with the processing times, has just gotten her work permit approved in 5 months. So this is much shorter than the processing times that I've been seeing at the Vermont Center, which is usually 9 months to a year. And this is because it is taking, it's everything is backed up, and the Vermont Center was the only center that processed the applications. But now they have distributed the workload to another service center, and that service center, that client who we filed at that service center will now receive her work permit and her travel document. We just got news her work permit and her travel document were approved in 5 months. So that's a good sign here. And I'm looking forward to my many other clients now getting their work permits and their travel documents within a shorter time. We still do have to keep an eye on the processing times. And of course, it's never within my control, but it's a good sign. It's a sign that this may be working, distributing, assigning another service center the ability to process these applications is allowing people to get these benefits faster. So I did want to share that update with you and my observation with you, because for the longest time, it has really been stuck in that 9 month to, I've gotten a few in less than the 9 months, but those are usually freakish situations. So I'm hoping that this is now going to be a pattern, a consistent pattern in the processing times. So that's great, great news. And, this is where I wanted to talk about the benefits of VAWA. So, a lot of people, when they hear about the process is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years long from filing to green card. But what I do, and people will be like, that's so long, right? But the problem, the upside here is that you do get the work permit. You get a work permit, which this is what I just talked about, work permit and a travel document that allows you to settle into life here, get work legally, be able to gain some independence to move forward while you wait for your green card. And there are two steps to the process. When you get VAWA protection, because there's a special VAWA status that you get, that then you get another work permit related to that when it's approved, and then it automatically moves on to the green card process as long as you've submitted the adjustment of status application. Also, the work permit is linked to the adjustment of status application. So you're not going to get a work permit unless that adjustment of status application is filed. So the benefit here of VAWA is not only do you get to control your process, move away from a parent or even an adult child who's mistreating you, but you get to work legally. You don't have to be living in the shadows. You don't have to work under the table. You don't have to take less than what you deserve, because the work permit allows you to work while you wait for the entire process to be completed. And so it is life changing for my clients, because they get to focus on gaining independence and building their lives back up while we help them to get to the green card. And we look at our representation as comprehensive. We don't leave you hanging. We are there with our clients the whole way through the process. We hold our clients' hands through the process. So while they're focusing on themselves, we're focusing on their immigration matter every step of the process, all the way to the green card. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions now that I've shared my good news with you and the benefits of applying for VAWA. Now let me answer your questions. So let me scroll through. Bear with me as I go through the questions. Oh, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate that. Thanks for your time updating us. It's appreciated. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. All right. Okay, to actually travel on those documents you were given through VAWA and be able to reach the country with no problems. I'm glad that you asked this, and we address this on a case-by-case basis. So, there is a risk. The risk is not zero. So with my clients, I do let them understand that there is a risk. However, the risk may be greater for some than others. If there's something in your background, if you have a record, if you have a very long, lengthy negative immigration history, if you have a deportation order in your past, then certainly you do not want to. I advise my clients, or I'm more cautious about telling them to travel. The document is there to allow you to leave and come back. But it also can be nerve wracking, because what usually happens is when you leave, and you also keep in mind, the travel document is not like a green card or even it's not a document that's going to authorize you to enter a country that you don't have a visa for. So wherever you're going internationally, make sure you also have the paperwork to enter that country. Now, when you're coming back, they are for sure going to put you in what's called secondary inspection. And they do that because they have you there and they want to maybe review your file, make sure there are no red flags, make sure there's no additional issues that could possibly cause them to deny your entry. They want to verify that, yes, you do indeed have this travel document. And in that time, if they do find something, then it could cause additional issues. So, for example, they may search your phone, they may take your phone, they may deny you entry. Worst case scenario, they may very well deny you entry. But it really is, most of my clients have been able to travel no problem. My clients have been able to travel no problem, but I usually let them become aware of the issues that could come along when they're re-entering the country. That's where it can be nerve-wracking. Got my travel document and work permit in 5 months after I applied. Congratulations. I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you. Hi there, June. Hello, Rita. After T approval and you start AOS process, is the wait longer or normal adjustment wait times? So it is going to fall within, so adjustment of status processing times, they usually fall within same processing times. So to be within the timeline as the usual adjustment of status application. And what I'm seeing is I'm seeing about a year and a half for these types of adjustment of status to be approved. Is it safe for an undocumented person to fly to Florida from another state? So, that you should seek advice if you are really issue in your background. If you're coming here to work, then it could potentially be an issue. You may have problems finding work, the employer, and this is not that if you're coming here to work, you'll be arrested for coming here to work. There's no such thing as being arrested for working here without a permit. But the problem is if you're coming here to do any work, the employers may not be willing to hire you now that the law is here. I just saw in the news that ironically, a DeSantis supporter who owned a restaurant here, he was hiring undocumented immigrants. And this is more common than you think. You have individuals, business people who are using undocumented immigrants, taking full advantage of their labor, and then turning around and supporting a law like this and supporting politicians that pass laws like this. Well, now he is facing harsh repercussions. I believe a $500,000 fine for hiring undocumented immigrants. And it is now that he has faced this fine that there's an outcry from him about protection for migrants, which that was not something he should have been doing that before, seeking these kinds of protections before. And so employers are watching this and they may not be willing to hire, but you won't be arrested for here. And if you came in with a visa, you're not going to face anything like a felony, or nobody who is you're living with is going to face a felony. So it doesn't, I would say, while I would say overall, generally, it is not a safe state for immigrants, especially undocumented immigrants. Flying here for a visit should not result in any consequences. Just also be careful about driving here. What does a second biometrics mean for VAWA? So it just usually means they want to redo another one. So it doesn't usually mean anything after work permit and travel document is approved. So they, sometimes they want to do another one. It doesn't mean that you're in trouble or anything. Is it safe for someone to fly by plane to Florida? Will the individual be in? I've heard of cases like that happening. Can I add my 20-year-old son as a derivative on my VAWA petition before he ages out? Yes, you should definitely add him before he turns 21, because once he turns 21, he ages out. The person wants to visit. It's not for work. The person is living in another state. So as I said before, get legal advice. This is not legal advice, and I don't know what your circumstances are. So this is where you need to make sure you follow up, protect yourself, or your friend, make sure they get legal advice. If you miss a year of filing taxes, can that put on a hold on getting your green card after being approved for VAWA? No. So failing to file a tax, that's a bad for your citizenship, but it's not. And so if you're to apply for citizenship, you definitely want to fix your tax issues before you apply for citizenship from the green card. But they don't look at your tax returns for VAWA green card. So my biometrics done on VAWA I-131 on May 16. When is expected work permit? So you'd have to look at the case processing times to see when. Generally, I'm seeing 9 to 12 months, but there's no way I would be able to tell you your processing time because I am not your attorney. I left the USA last year because my grandma was very sick, and I just got my VAWA approved. What can I file to go to the USA? So you have a complex case. Now, it depends on your qualifications. Now that you're outside of the United States, do you qualify to get an immigrant visa to enter the United States with that approved petition? So this is, this is going to be a little more complex. You may need a waiver if you left the country without a travel document. So definitely give us a call and let's evaluate your situation in detail, because it's a lot more complex there. All right. I have to go to another appointment. We'll be back at around lunchtime to take your questions. Again, thanks so much for your time. And I am looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So think of those questions you want to ask and hop right on and put those questions in the comments. Thanks so much. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.